one of the weirder intro moments that we've had.
Thank
But
you.
we appreciate you for all of your idiosyncrasies. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, City Pigeons, episode 92. When I say 92, I can't help but think about Reggie Wood, the Minister of Defense, Reggie Wood.
Green Bay Packer, Reggie Wood?
Careful, we got a game against the Packers coming up. You know what I mean?
Usually.
Take it easy. All right, we're back. A couple weeks in a row here, feeling good. Crazy. It's crazy, right? Working so hard. We're gonna rock this thing to the wheels fall off. Well, we're not. It's not the end yet. We're very close. Maybe August 1st. The end of the summer, in my opinion. Is that right? Well, I know there's a bunch of kids who don't feel that way, right? There's still a couple weeks left.
We're starting for later.
Deep down, these kids feel the same way. It depends.
Because their parents are starting to take them to go school shopping and
Right.
get their summer reading done.
Oh, yeah. The summer reading, the math, all that.
And because nobody's done anything. Listen, I have 5 boys, and I know the deal. They don't do a goddamn thing. They actually don't do it before school anyway. We usually get an extra week because teachers.
Hey, can we celebrate? We're back live on Twitter, guys.
Hey!
All right.
Yeah,
It worked.
we did it.
Elon forced us into the blue check, people. I want you to understand that. We cannot stream without the blue check. We now have to pay Elon Musk to bring you this fine program.
We sold our souls for $7.99 subscription per month.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? All right, so last week we had some fun with the first week of the Olympics. Still going with the Olympics. A lot of great stuff there. I just wanted to point out, guys, if you're following along with the City Pigeons, any of the clips are posted, somebody on the show claims that they could medal in the javelin after a few months of practice. He's got a huge arm. we know that from his years of softball dominance. I saw you post it again. Like, how many softball memories come out? I swear, if you look at things Instagram, every other week, it's like 6 years ago, softball, and it was division champ. What's the division?
We were in 3 different leagues. One was my buddy's work league. And then we had 2 other leagues, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon.
Say less. Seriously, literally.
I told you I had hundreds of wins.
Say
I
less.
played in so many leagues.
And I won a corporate because he has multiple championships. I think only won one. Right? Didn't I win one
In one league. That's why we're in multiple leagues. I have like 7 in the one league. I won in one league and 1 in the other. You can tell the competition level.
Yeah, you clearly are doctoring your own stat line, but that's okay, man. We're proud of you. We're happy for you. But what happened was you claimed to be, a potential Olympic javelinist, and then Mark, our good friend Mark Goodhart, challenged
Another
you.
bullshitter.
He challenged you and said that he could throw the javelin further than you. And so
Good thing I don't know a drug test lawyer, so that guy's out of his mind.
His audio is off.
Oh no.
Come on.
how is that possible? How is that possible? All right, hold on. Let me try to fix this thing. Mic is on. This is on. What we got there?
How the hell do we have no audio, folks?
Testing.
Testies. 1,
We didn't say
2.
anything good anyway yet, so.
Okay. Can you guys hear us at all, or is there no audio at all whatsoever? Oh, there we go.
I fixed it.
Was it literally that button?
Yeah.
Oh, Fink tried to mess with the headphones. That's a shame because I feel like that was actually a
We
pretty
said
good
so much
intro.
funny shit in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And
It's my
15
fault. I told
seconds.
him what not to press.
Maxie is better than me, but
Look,
thank you.
Hey,
We appreciate
thank you. If you were watching us and like, man, these guys really have they're totally screwed up. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Anyway, we're talking about the Olympics, and we're talking about the fact that a certain somebody claimed to be a potential Olympic javelinist medalist, right? That you could do that because of your huge arm, right? Which we know from.
I can't do that again. I don't want people to actually
Okay,
zoom
don't
in,
do
so-
that again. All right, but in the comments, Mark Goodhart challenged you. And so I think the only fair way to settle this is that we have a javelin throw off between you and Mark. Now, I asked last week if anyone has a javelin. Maybe some of you guys did track and field. Maybe there's Maxie is better than you.
Even if
says
you
Faith.
did track and field, I don't think they let you take the javelin home with you. I think that stays at the
you don't,
school.
You don't get to keep
Do
the
you,
javelin.
do you know that for a fact?
I don't.
Yo, let me just say, Maxie is better than you, pal. I have no life. It's all good. Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for making this part of your life. Really, that means a lot to us. It really does. Anybody who hung in there,
We're humbled.
we love you. Anyway, so point is, we're going to have a competition. Maybe you said FDR Park, you could throw a javelin onto 95. So maybe go to FDR Park. If we can't get an actual javelin, I was thinking every once in a while I'm taking hikes through the Wissahickon near in my neighborhood. If I can find a good stick, that's long enough, and then I'll sharpen it, and we can use the stick for the javelin. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone out there that wants to see me do something stupid. They'll donate a javelin.
All right. We need a javelin donor.
Yeah, who would have that?
Okay.
Like a gymnastics place?
Yeah. Like we
Or
can
no, because that's track and field.
All right, but here's the thing. I want to take it to the next level because it's fun that you guys will try to throw a javelin, but I thought let's have 5 to 10 different items, like some of which may be household items. How far can you guys throw a jar of mayonnaise? Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Just
let's do that.
To test really the full competency of your arm. So if anyone wants to
The
suggest
jar of mayonnaise, by the way, costs like $10.
does it?
Not
It's cheap.
Hellman's.
Yeah,
boy.
Hellman's, forget about
Jesus.
it. It's cheaper to throw a football.
All right. Well, we could go down here on Hampton Street and find some stuff on the street for you guys to throw. But if anyone has any suggestions about how we should conduct the throw off between Fink and Mark, let us know, because I'll try to figure out how we can film it, make some really good content for you guys. It's the throw off between Fink and Mark.
See, Rockside Amazon. That'd be pretty funny. They have it on there.
I bet they have a javelin. Can you look real quick on Amazon?
I bet you Gold Medal Sporting Goods had javelins.
Fink
Or Herman's.
Wait, Fink comments, get Fink off the controls.
Can't believe you blew it.
Brilliant. Okay, so we do have the second week of the Olympics going on. I think in the realm of good news, we did see Embiid have a better performance. Now, I'm missing a lot of this stuff because I don't get in there during the day, but Meech is catching some. Meech, can you give a quick overview of Embiid's performance against, I think it was Brazil was the last game, right? What do you think there?
Yeah, me
Yeah, I mean, dude, he killed it. But, I mean, again, it was against Brazil, who was the lowest seed to advance into the knockout stage. It'll be the next few games. They'll be really good. USA is going to win gold. They're way too good. I think they played. They'll end up playing Germany in the gold medal game. Is that what's going to be the case if they both win out?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the expert.
That should be a good game, but USA is going to
Wait, where are they right now?
destroy them.
Are they in the semis?
Yes, 4 teams left.
We can get javelins on Amazon.
Okay.
Rock was 100% right.
You could literally get.
Sounds like we're getting it. How much are they?
Like 35 bucks.
All right. That's worth it. All right. We're going to get a javelin off Amazon, everybody. Update. Getting a javelin off Amazon.
Before we get off the Embiid topic,
Yeah.
Did you guys see the thing came out about his ankle today? He sat out the second half of the Brazil game because of a sore ankle.
I did
I
not.
thought it was just because he had 14. And yeah, he didn't play a minute in the second half.
They came out and said he had a sore ankle, and that's something that worries me.
Well,
He's got plenty of time.
It's going to happen eventually anyway. So just prepare for another ankle injury. Anyway, I think U.S. plays Serbia again, right? It's a rematch. They played them in the prelims before the exhibition games. That was a pretty good game. And then they played them again in the group stage, and I believe U.S. beat them by like 20. But when Jokic played, it was 81-81. So it was a really good game. But when he left the game,
Can you tell me when is
them.
this game? Do you know?
Tomorrow,
Like
3 o'clock. There's an 11:30 game and a 3 o'clock. And then the gold medal game would be Saturday. I believe the afternoon game is Germany and France, which both had huge comebacks. Germany came back from 12 down. Serbia came back from 24 down in their game.
I only care about the U.S., but thank you for this update. Now, Keith
US
says,
didn't have to come from any
typical
down.
U.S.
Keith says, I can steal a
says
javelin for you. I'll be at the track and field tomorrow. And my logical question is, are you referring to the Olympics? Keith, are you actually in Paris going to the Olympics, or are you going to be at a different track and field event? Please do update us on that.
And also, if you get caught stealing a javelin for us, is it worth it? Like, what would be the
clearly,
the
well, we want it to be
Don't be talking people out of doing.
what would be the
fun
repercussions
stuff.
if you got
Come
caught
on.
stealing? And where are you stealing it from?
Well, if he's at the Olympics, we obviously would love to have
Is he at the Olympics?
ISA certified Olympic javelin. Don't you think, Fink? I mean, that's the one you're most comfortable with
Yeah, exactly.
from your training.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No
Now,
doubt about it.
I was down the shore the other day. When I'm down the shore, I'll tune into 97.3. That's like the ESPN radio station down there. And they have a decent amount of local programming, but then they also carry national like ESPN stuff. And as I was listening, they were talking, oh, the U.S., they looked pretty good. Embiid, though, looked like he ate hibachi before the game. I just thought it was so funny, like these national hosts commenting on how sluggish Embiid looks. It was definitely
he's got a vertical of about 3 millimeters.
Well, he's 7'2", so that's good.
No, I mean most 7'2" guys could jump a little bit. He's got no vertical anymore. It's
okay, so
sad.
Keith is saying he's wondering why we started the pod at 2 a.m. I can only infer that he is actually at the Olympics, which is amazing. We need to have an official Olympic correspondent. Keith, I don't know why you didn't tell us that this was going to be the case. If you could give us any insights.
Keith, you could have been our Snoop Dogg, buddy.
Yeah, Keith,
come on, dude.
Are they paying you $500
man.
a day too,
is that
or not
real?
as much? You think? Yeah, it's definitely real, right?
I don't know.
I mean, think about the amount of impressions they get from Snoop Dogg and all the
That's
content.
our guy Keith. Look at him wearing City Pigeon shirt.
Hell yeah. Keith wearing his City Pigeon shirt in Paris.
In Paris.
Today.
He's wearing a beret and a City Pigeon shirt, I bet.
Can I tell you, I was at the Blink 182 concert a couple of weeks ago, and I was wearing my City Pigeon shirt, which I don't think is a violation to wear your own podcast shirt, but whatever. And I was like right in the mix, like listening, and this guy turns to me, points at me, he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I couldn't tell if he just thought it was a cool shirt or he had actually like heard of it. And I feel like he might have thought I blew him off, and I felt bad about that.
I think he said how funny I was on the pod.
Yeah, he's like,
We love Fink.
He turned to me and he goes, Fink. Fink is the greatest. Well, I wouldn't be surprised by
I
that.
get that a lot.
So
I get recognized at a Phillies game one time from the City Pigeon. The dude, I'm with my wife getting a beer, and dude's like, "Yo, are you Meech from City Pigeon?" He's like, "I love the podcast." And I thought my wife would be like impressed. She's like, "You're such a dork," which makes me love her even more.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I'm like, man, I don't know. We might just fold this whole thing up. And I'm standing in line to get into the Kelsey thing, and a guy goes, "I love the pod, man." As he's like walking by, and I'm like, "Hey, wait, don't
Come back.
What do you
You
like
wanna
about
come
it? What do you like about it?" But hey, if you're that guy and you're listening, thank you. You kept me going, man. You gave me the fuel. All right. So any other
and Keith gave us
and Keith is the man. We know Keith.
Hell
Dude.
yeah.
We know Keith. Keith, you got to come back and get in the coop for some of these games we're gonna have popping off soon.
Cool.
By the way, I just want to mention, if we didn't talk about this enough, that's on me. We have the Next in Line comedy show group putting on shows here at the Coop every Friday and Saturday. 2 shows a night, most nights. Sometimes they have headliners coming in, national
They're
headliners.
so
Sometimes
good.
Yeah.
I was coming here every week until my wife started to get a little.
your wife's
mad.
like, you
I
go to
spent-
the Coop for the
like,
podcast
I
and the
wo-
comedy show.
I work all weekend, and then when I have an open Friday night, I'm down here spending.
I came down, met
Watch
Meech that one night. We had a good time.
Yeah.
Just sat there, laughed our asses
And
off.
this
Good
month
time.
we got Dock Street in here operating the bar with all their stuff,
Dock
which is
Street beer.
Dock Street beer. So that's fantastic. Come down,
I'm
check
a
out
Ken-
some shows.
I'm gonna sneak Kenwood in. I'm a
And on that note, coming up, we got the Eagles season, Phillies playoffs. We're gonna have a lot of great time in here watching different games. So we'll give you some notice on that. You come down, hang out with us, maybe check out a pod, whatever.
Can I come?
You are invited.
Hell yeah.
Luckily for you. All right. Olympics wise, anything else that stuck out to you guys over the past week?
that Quincy Hall comeback in the 400 meter today was unbelievable. Did you guys see that?
I did not see that
I've
yet.
seen a little clip. I was
Dude,
working
it was like
beside
out of a movie, and he just got like his 5th gear at the very end of the race out of nowhere. You got to watch the highlight when you get home. It was the Quincy Hall 400 meters. Such a cool moment in the Olympics. They were getting blown out in the U.S. and he came through.
It was a 400 meter, right?
Yeah.
I seen someone saying that he looked like he was hurt around the 30
Yeah,
meter. Like
I mean,
he was out of it.
he was out of it. He was done, and he just
400's one lap, right?
Yeah.
It's about the most I could do without
We can
sprinting.
talk. Also, shout out to the women's national soccer team.
yeah.
They won in extra times.
Okay.
And,
So they're going to the gold medal game,
Alex
right?
Coffey's sister, Sam Coffey's on the squad.
By the way, that goal that Dennis Rodman's daughter scored the other day was
She's
one of the
awesome.
sickest
Yeah.
goals.
She's-
I heard that
she's
they're not
good.
really friendly though. Did you
No,
hear
they
this?
don't. They don't even talk.
I mean,
Interesting. It's shocking.
your dad's hanging out with dictators in North Korea. Like, you think they have a lot to get along
Hey,
with?
oh, we got Rocky coming to the building.
Rock's in the
So
building.
Rock is
Straight
into the
to the
building, but
bathroom.
he's going to hit the bathroom first before he jumps on the show.
Well, that's
and-
courteous of him. He
Yeah.
snuck in. He wanted
Yeah.
to dip in there before we noticed.
He usually
Oh,
goes
good.
during the show. So
I missed Rocky in the coop.
Rocky in the coop. All right.
Rocky in the
Other
coop.
highlights include the guy who knocked the bar off with his Johnson. Right, that was a big moment that we didn't get to talk about.
I mean,
you
is there any like, if you're not going to win the gold medal,
That's
is
the
there
way to
any
do it.
better way to go out?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I didn't
would've
win,
won.
but let me show you how I lost, ladies. Come
I
here,
would've won.
gather around my iPhone.
Check
while
out
I
this
show you-
slow-mo.
while I show everyone in this party how I lost the gold
Check
medal.
out this
So
slow-mo.
that mean the guy who did win doesn't have a Big Johnson then?
No,
That or he managed it better.
Tucked it away a little
Yeah.
bit.
Okay, so wait, when is the girls? Is it women's girls? That feels very
Women's
sophomoric.
girls.
Saturday for gold.
Saturday.
Our own sports reporter Devin Caney. Thank you, Devin.
Yes, thank you, Devin. Can we get a start time on
Yo,
there?
I was watching the game the other day and I didn't see Sam Coffey in there, and then I think I heard she got 2 yellows. Did she get suspended a game, or was I missing?
I'm going to be honest, I wasn't watching.
I honestly,
because I didn't see her on the field, and then I heard one of the announcers say she had two
All I do is work.
2 yellow
Oh
cards.
my god.
Oh,
The dude that won the pole
Oh, my
vault
God.
actually
There he
set the world record.
yeah, this is Mondo, right?
I forget what his name was, from Sweden.
Yeah,
but he
it's
set the
pretty
world
sick.
record.
Yeah.
His Johnson was not big enough. So
Okay.
Oh, what's up, Rock?
Rock, welcome
What
to the
up?
program.
Rock.
Thank you for joining us. How was the game tonight? We're
He's in a
pretty
rock tank.
let's not talk about the game. I'm fresh off a playoff L, bounced.
Oh,
That's what load management gets you, bro.
Was it? I'm not going to throw my team under the bus.
so
there we
so
go.
this is you officially saying you guys are out. Does that mean you're available for Wednesdays, or do you start like a new season next week?
We start a new season like maybe end of September. So I'm here for a while.
Hey, well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
making yourself
Thank you.
available.
Do you think
we
maybe it
appreciate
could
it.
have been the basketball pennies that the guy who left the league?
Oh,
God,
yeah.
put
You know
that-
what? I
that
left
put
it in
in-
my car. I meant to bring it in. I want you to see how soaking wet and heavy this thing is after playing.
Are you acting like those dry fit things we wore before that weren't soaking wet and heavy?
Yeah, they were way better, though. They were light. These things are heavy. They have sticky numbers sticking to
Oops.
your back. It's just a
Do you guys think
disgusting
we should
shirt.
spend more time? Like, I
No,
feel like
no.
maybe we could spend more time.
Back to the Olympics.
All right.
How about the Romanian girls getting robbed on the floor exercise?
I didn't
you guys
this.
see that?
No,
No,
you
I
mentioned this. I didn't see this. Go ahead and explain this real quick.
All right. So
Quickly.
you know Simone Biles, queen of gymnastics, right?
Know her.
Obviously, everybody knows her. So she took silver in the floor exercise. The Brazilian girl won a gold. And I know you all seen the picture with Simone Biles and the other American girl like bowing down to her at the
Sue
podium
Lee,
or
is that her
whatever.
name?
Yeah. So the girl who won third place, right? When she took her initial run, she ended up in 5th place, right? But right before she went, she was the last one to go. Right before she went, they had 2 Romanian girls go, and they both killed it. Like, did way more than this last girl did. Ended up respectively in 3rd and 4th. The last girl goes. She initially gets 5th place. The American coaches, they pull some sort of, hey, I want this reviewed. They gave the girl enough points for her to move up into 3rd, but she didn't do anything. They missed the move where she just like did a little jump twirl, like in the middle of her exercise, and that gave her enough points to vault above the 2 Romanian girls and give her the silver. But the Romanian girls are all pissed and protesting over there because, and if anybody watched it like I did, the Romanian girls clearly did better than the last American girl. All right.
Hey, we got to throw a big shout out to our boy, Tommy Donuts, in the chat.
I thought we were talking about Olympics.
Already
man.
too long, stick to baseball. And I don't even know if
You
sticking
don't even
to
want me
baseball
sticking to baseball.
is enough.
fellas.
Tommy, we love you, dude.
Tommy,
we'll see you soon,
up, though?
buddy. Hope everything's going well with you, my boy.
Tommy
All right.
Donuts.
So, being that we are on the Olympics, okay, and I see my buddy is here, we're gonna go to our special guest of the night a little earlier than as scheduled. Roz, I called you Roz, my daughter's name. I don't know what you're doing over there. All right, so we're gonna go to a guy who was an early guest on the City Pitches podcast. I can't believe he even
Our
agreed.
first Shore
I can't
episode.
believe he even agreed to come on
from the
back then.
Bronco Bar.
Yeah, we did an episode in the Bronco Bar down the shore, and we had to call in an OG from the shore himself. He probably thinks I'm lame for calling it the shore because he's a true Jersey guy. So let's bring on to the show here, pro surfer, New Jersey, friend of mine, Rob Kelly. Let's get him in here. Rob, how we doing?
Guys,
How are you?
What's happening, Rob?
good. How you guys been?
All right, beautiful. Okay, so here's the deal. I was watching the Olympics the other day. I assume you watch all the Olympic surfing, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I think you noticed there was a theme there in at least in the men's heats there on the final day. And I think we can agree the waves weren't, as consistent as you'd like. It wasn't as good as you'd like. It wasn't as good as it was the one day when Medina got the epic shot, right? But
Yeah,
both of those heats, you had scenarios where, and let me back up for a minute and speak to everybody just generally about the dynamic of a surfing competition in a heat. Obviously, you have to make do with whatever the ocean serves you up during that time. Any competitor has to try to catch whatever waves come in during that time. That's part of the strategy. But you saw a couple heats where there were competitors who needed scores who literally sat for 15 or 20 minutes and were watching, and just literally no waves came. They're sitting there, time expires, kind of an anticlimactic thing. At the end of the day, the guy from Tahiti wins. So, maybe that made sense. I think Medina's a beast and didn't necessarily have his, a fair shot without there being as many waves. But first of all, your thoughts on how that all went down from your perspective, watching the Olympic surfing there in the finals.
Yeah, I thought it was a great showcase. A little better than it was in Japan for the debut. I think there was a lot more eyes on it this year, rightfully so. Tahiti versus Japan, it just was a better showcase. So I'm stoked for how it kind of went down. I've always been sort of an advocate, a little biasly working in the industry, but an advocate for the Olympic surfing being run in a wave pool, because to me it just made sense. That second day when the waves were absolutely pumping and guys were free falling into the barrel, and you didn't have to be a surfer to know how sort of extreme that was. I was kind of eating my words a little bit, and people were texting me, so you still think it should be in a wave pool? I'm like, okay, you got to kind of point there. But then the final day kind of solidified back to my sort of argument that they should be in a wave pool just because of at least the Olympics.
Okay, so you're leading the witness, because this was exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Surfing is one of the only sports where you are at the mercy of nature, and as we know, wave pool technology has become much better. There are a lot of different wave pools. Interestingly, in 2028, we have the Olympic Games in LA. What do we know about LA? You've got a world-class break in Lower Trestles where they have the finals for the surfing every year for the world title. But you also have Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch not far from there at all. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, all right, and to back up even further for everybody else, there are now wave pools where you can generate waves. And hypothetically, every competitor could have the same number of waves and exactly the same kind of wave, as opposed to just being at the whim of whatever nature serves up. Now, I knew that you were in the wave pool industry and you might, feel that way, but I also thought, it's kind of the traditional view that the strategy of, trying to catch a wave in the ocean, whatever happens, is part of it. So you're saying you think in 2028, we go to Slater's pool. Is that where you're at?
I don't think Slater's pool, because that's a competitor for the technology that I work
Yeah,
for.
that's right.
But no, I think it's the right call for the Olympics. Obviously, dealing with the ocean and the strategy that's been part of surf competition since the beginning, that has a place. But when it comes to the Olympics and just the kind of prestige around that, and because it is kind of new, I think it makes sense to do a sort of a level playing field. And I know we're pushing to build a wave pool out in California before the start of that Olympics, whether it'll be there or not. If it's at Kelly's pool, I'd still be stoked. But yeah, I think for the Olympics, it's still new for the surfing. Let's rally and kind of have it in the wave pool, so that what happened in that sort of final day where, someone's in position potentially to win a gold medal and there's nothing he can do except just sit there in the ocean and hope a wave comes, and then the time just expires and nothing comes. He didn't even kind of have a chance to sort of battle it out to the end. So that's sort of my take of why we should have it.
Yeah, it's not the way that you want to see it end. It's funny. I was talking about last week, we were talking about the Olympics a little bit, and I was talking about how I was watching the kayaking. And for the kayaking, they literally built like a river with rapids, that was clearly man-made, like right there in Paris. And everybody was doing the same thing there. So it's kind of similar to that. So that makes sense to me. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see how they handle that. Given so many options that they have there in the LA area. I mean, there's so many breaks that they could go to. I mean, geez, they went from Paris to Tahiti. So they have so many breaks at their disposal. That's going to be super interesting. Okay. Something else that's very timely right now. Some people know that for East Coast surfers, guys from New Jersey, hurricane season is a big thing. right? We're looking for storms to generate waves. Obviously, hopefully not, impact land. We've got Debbie coming up the coast, right? Crossed over, coming up the coast, might give us maybe our first little shot of waves for the summer. But for a guy like you, I was telling Meech earlier, that you do the video series for Surfline and that you're basically like, you got that van. He customized his van. You guys should see his thing. He can sleep in there, put all the boards in there. It's amazing. And you're just waiting, right? Like right now, you're just waiting to see what's going to happen. And then if you got to head to North Carolina, you got to head up to Maine, you'll really go wherever. So talk a little bit about what it's like gearing up for that, being ready to go, and what it's like to just like jump on it and go on an absolute mission, like at the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you kind of explain and paint the picture. It's so true. Nowadays there's a lot of opportunity to sort of make a living outside of competition, and most of that's based around content. So for an East Coast surfer, we're just waiting for those swells that come every, a handful of times a year. That's our window to go and make the videos, make the content, keep our sponsors happy. So, this time of year, it's normally flat. The Jersey Shore is always kind of small. So that first sort of hurricane that comes up the coast, that's normally our first chance of potentially getting, one of those swells where we can go chase it and sort of make the content. So right now, one of those storms, not taking the most ideal track, it's kind of overland. Ideally, we'd want the storms out to sea, just spinning the wind and waves up and sending us waves without any kind of weather. But we'll take it. This first one looks like this weekend's shaping up to be, nothing epic, but again, a relief from the 1-2 footers that we've kind of had all summer. It'll be sort of our first real day of waves. So I'm looking forward to it. And I know the hype is real on social media and all the surfers.
Rocky's got a question for you. All right. So we're going to go over to Rocky real quick.
Yeah. So I know I'm an extreme sportsman myself, Rocky Red Bull in the wintertime gets on the snowboard, but we've taken these trips and you get in a car and sometimes you're driving through these massive storms and you got some sketchy road conditions, right? I don't know if you're a snowboarder yourself or you've been on these kind of trips, but there's some dangerous driving. I'm wondering in the surf world, so like you got your big van, you got it loaded up with surfboards. Do you have to drive through any extreme weather that's like extra dangerous that you probably should not be driving through?
Yeah, that happens quite often. Coincidentally, probably most of the snowstorms that the snowboarders are chasing to get fresh powder, whatnot, those are the storms that bring us the best waves in the wintertime. So we're driving, probably passing you guys on the Parkway or the 95. We're heading to the ocean. You guys are heading to the beach. But those storms that bring you the powder, that's the storms that bring us the best waves. So yeah, we're driving through.
So you're talking about driving through in the wintertime. I'm talking about about now. Like
same thing. Yeah. The bigger the storm, the crazier the weather, normally the bigger and better the waves are. So kind of goes hand in hand.
And Rob,
it's rare that we're not driving through crazy weather when we're chasing waves.
Yeah. And Rob, a lot of times with these hurricanes, the conditions can change instantly, right? So a lot of times you have to kind of drive through the storm when that wind switches or whatever is on. You can't wait until everything clears. It's just like snowboarding. It's like you got to drive through the blizzard to be there.
Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of times, Rob, in the winter, I'll be, home and like we'll be getting all this snow and I'll be like wanting to snowboard. And then I see you guys are going and getting barrels. And I was like, I got to go snowboard. I'm soft, man. These guys are hardcore going.
What's up with you, dude? So, I mean, I know surfing is your first love, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you dissing these waves?
No, I'm not dissing any waves, but like it's different. Rob is down there in the mix day in, day out. He's used to it. I put this wetsuit on, man. I can barely move. It's a long story, man.
You know that Kobe meme when he's like,
don't bring me into
soft?
It. Yeah,
that's
me.
Sounds
I'm definitely soft. I know I'm soft.
Be safe out there, Rob.
Right. So Rob, I've been seeing you the past couple weekends down at the beach, and you got the 2 kids running crazy. How's that affecting your flow, man? Because I know you got carte blanche to run out there and go, when the waves are on, but when the kids are up at night, you still got that hall pass, dude. You're good to go no matter what. I mean, that's where the bread is buttered, right?
Yeah, thankfully it's still how I make a living. So the wife kind of understands. Part of when there are waves, I kind of got to drop everything and go. Or if I gotta travel this summer, I've been in Brazil a couple times, Japan a couple times. The wife has to stay back with the kids. But when I'm not traveling, I got a lot of free time. So I kind of put my dad duty to work when in between waves. And then when the waves are there, the wife takes over. So it all works out.
Hey, well, kudos to you. When I was, in my teens, I dreamed of being able to make a living surfing. So the fact that you've been able to do that is fantastic. You're the man. I got one last question for you. This is an important question. Okay. I know you like to be in the right spot when the swell's hitting in the winter, but like, here's a conundrum. We know you're a big Birds fan. Okay. Let's just say I'm like, Rob, Eagles are in the NFC Championship, right? We're playing the Cowboys. Let's just say, let's just make it as crazy as possible. You're going to come with me to the NFC Championship. It's going down. It's that Sunday. And then it's like, the storm is hitting. That's the day. You have to make a decision between getting that clip that could change the whole winter for you or going to see the Eagles play in the NFC Championship. What's your move? Are you going to give your ticket to Radical Squirrel? That's the question.
That's a tough one. Give the ticket to Radical Squirrel, then maybe I'll give me a better chance to get the waves. But if I take the ticket, then Radical Squirrel might go out there and get the wave of the winner and take everything I've worked for. So, no, that's a good question. I don't know. When that happens, invite me to the game and we'll see.
Good answer right there.
Yeah, that is.
Way to hedge.
We'll find out. We'll
Put 'em
find
to
out.
the test.
All right.
Rob.
Well, I don't know if you know this, by the way. We are trying to put together a baptism for the Radical Squirrel for the Eagles Jaguars game. Okay. Where he brings all of his Jaguars gear and we burn it. And then we dip him into the water and he emerges as a full-fledged Eagles fan. I assume this is something you would like to be on hand for, correct?
I'm ready for it. I feel like you've said this for the past 3 seasons. I remember we were at the CIO thing with Jason Kelsey, and you told me this thing, and that was a couple of years ago. So I'm ready.
The truth is,
you got to set it up.
I'm all about it, but then I started thinking, how do I get a tub? Fink had a good idea, just an inflatable pool. That could work. But then we got to get a lot of water down there. So I was actually thinking maybe we get all the plastic balls at the McDonald's Playland, and we just dip them in the plastic balls. I mean, these are just things I'm thinking. If you have any good ideas, maybe we use the surf fan. I don't know. All right, good deal. Rob, thank you for joining us. You're the man.
Thanks, Rob.
We'll be
Thanks, Rob.
checking back in and enjoy the travels of the wave pools. I hope to be lucky enough to see you for a wonderful, warm, although the water's not warm, but, a beautiful hurricane session sometime in Jersey sometime soon, buddy. Be well. Thank you for
Good
joining
health,
us.
man.
All right?
Be safe out there.
Go Birds.
Take care, guys. Go Birds.
All right. See ya.
I see Keith's down there in the chat said he got stuck in the Tahoe 80 inches last year. We were out there.
Yeah, I think we were there for
Keith,
that.
you missed us, man. We
Keith,
should have
we were there,
hollered
buddy.
at us. We were out there
We were
during
there.
that time.
I see the
It
Diz.
was probably hard to get around,
Not
80
with those
inches,
big
80
ass trucks
inches.
we had. We were mashing through that shit.
I see the Diz in the chat. That's our boy Charlie, Delco Charlie. And he's definitely going to help with the baptism. I could see him.
Why do you guys
helping.
call him Delco Charlie?
Because he has the greatest, Delco character accent.
I
DJ
mean,
Durant.
it's pretty
I don't know.
Self-explanatory.
All right. So
Yeah, it's going to choke
you
you.
guys, listen. I know that was an aside. Got a little into the surf stuff, but I think
like
it's
that, man.
an interesting window. It's really cool. I mean,
What's your thoughts on the wave pool versus the ocean? I mean, I'm down with Rob. You watch these extreme sports in the wintertime, it's the same track the snowboarders are going down, the same mountain, everything. It's there's so many variables with the ocean. I don't see why they would not have it in the wave. That was my only question for him, and you stole my thunder. But
okay, well, he went right into it because he actually works with the wave pool company and
Yeah,
gets to travel around, check out all these new wave pools, which is cool. And I actually went to, I don't know if we talked about this, but
went to Waco.
yeah, I went to Waco, Texas, and went to a wave pool there, which is crazy.
Shout out David Koresh.
Shout out. I stopped by David. No, I did not. It was amazing. But my take on it, I'm a little torn because surfing is the only sport, if you will, that has a moving playing field, right? And so to be very good at it, at least traditionally, you had to understand how the ocean works, right? And so to have a wave that just comes to you that's pretty simple to catch and is the same every time seems a little contrary to the whole thing. And that's why a lot of people are against it.
Now, is it a free for all? Is everybody out in the water at one time and you just hop on whatever you want to snag, or
You mean for a wave pool situation?
No. In the Olympics, Like it's a free for all the guys are out in the water at once and you just hop on to
I can tell Meech is like, okay, that's enough with the surfing conversation.
Like, I actually have a question, but I don't even know if I want to fucking ask it because we've talked about it for so long. How do you even qualify to be in the Olympics for surfing?
You got to
Like,
rip, son.
Like, but how do you rip? Do you just do it in your fucking own city and be like, yo, guys, here's my
Listen,
tape?
This is not that's actually, it's really not that complicated. It's like every other sport, right? There are competitions that become like part of the qualification process, and you know
what I like. There's a guy in like, it's probably not the right place, but let's say it was Peru or something, called a huge wave in like 2015, and every year
Portugal.
on Twitter, Portugal, every year on Twitter, like this amazing, and it goes viral every single year, and it's like this guy.
It's like the splash at the Olympics, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
All right. Well, let's not make me salty. Point is, there is a priority system as to who gets to choose which wave comes in. It's complicated. It's really not. But anyway, we'll talk about this.
Wait, has anyone ever caught the? Remember that Bash at the Beach movie or whatever? It was the Cowabunga from Down Under.
All right.
It was like a net
the best surf movie of all time is North Shore. If you get a chance to watch North Shore, absolutely watch North Shore.
Now you guys are going to make me Google this.
Okay, Google it.
I'm just noticing Coach Meech's USA.
Listen, yeah, Meech is all USA'd up. Look at him.
It looks like a coach, dude.
Yo, this shit. I got this at the Franklin Mills Nike outlet in like 2004.
Yeah, dude, that thing is
tight. Young on me.
That thing is tight.
He's in the spirit, man. Let's give it to him. All right, I'm going to transition because I know we build this episode, as a kind of exploration of the psyche of our fans right now, given everything that's going on and is going on. And I want to talk about something we haven't talked about in a long time.
Surfing?
The Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia freaking Eagles. We haven't talked about the Eagles in forever. I was lucky enough to be down at training camp a couple times this week, and that was a very cool experience on a lot of fronts.
And the players kiss?
Excuse me?
What? Yo, dude.
You're so weird.
All right, you're so weird. Show.
You were down at training camp this week.
37 minutes in, we're going.
Were you down there for work, or you just down there hanging?
Yeah. So shout out Connor Barwin. As I've said before, I've been working with Connor and his foundation for 2.5 years now. So executive director there, do all the capital projects and the fundraising and whatever. So, but Connor and I have been friends for a long time through this work. Long story short, he takes care of me, gets me down there with a buddy of ours. We go and check it out. So I was down there yesterday just kind of watching. And then today I actually went down because I told you guys about this. Fink, you were there. We had an event last year with Chris Long and Connor where they partnered together. We're doing that again in December. It's called Team Dinner, sweet event. And Chris actually came to practice today with Bo and the Green Light guys, and they were capturing some content. Doing some interviews in their RV. So I got to hang out with those guys, film a little promo video with Chris and Connor, which was amazing. And I got to start out by saying it's kind of funny
I'm so sorry.
Fink. Shut it down. All right. Fink, come on, man. Okay, little audio issue.
Trying to sabotage.
I got to say,
that's
fine. That's fine. It's fine. He's looking at you, porn. Okay.
So I wonder if you just turned the audio back off.
Some people are curious what Connor's role is. And it's funny. I don't think I ever told him this, but I was listening to WIP one day and a guy calls up and they're talking about what's wrong with the Eagles. And so he goes, what's Connor Barwin doing? And they're like, what do you mean? What's Connor Barwin doing? He's like, what is he, the director of player development? And they're like, yeah, I think that's what he is. Like, what players has he developed? What's Connor Barwin done? This guy tried to put like the Eagles struggles on Connor. And I was laughing so hard. I was like, I don't know if Connor ever heard this. It was hysterical. But I get down there and I'm watching, and they're doing so not today, but the 2 days before that, they practiced in full pads 2 days in a row, which is rare under Sirianni. Some people say Vic Fangio is kind of, they're trying to be a little bit tougher this year, a little harder. Anyway, I look over, there's a drill where the offensive line is lining up against the defensive line. And they snap the ball and they go hard like they're coming to get the quarterback. And then they kind of call it off like right before that. No one's tackling the quarterback. But I look up, I realize it's Connor. Like Connor is taking the shotgun snap, right? He's got these guys in full pads going 100% all around him. And he's like dodging them. And like, he has nothing on. He's like shorts and like, Nike, he doesn't have cleats or anything. Like, he could absolutely die. So point is, Connor's down there. He's involved in every aspect of these, the practices, and he's all in on the birds.
So what is Connor doing? He's risking life. and
yeah,
death.
don't blame Connor. Okay,
During those drills, he's probably like, ho, 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 ho. Stop there. I'm showing you this like swim move tactic, this little circle.
Yes. And after practice every day, he's with a couple guys showing them stuff, and when you've played in the league and you have that expertise, you share with the guys, and that's what he does amongst many other things.
So how was training camp?
Training camp is super cool. Like if you get the chance to go, you should absolutely go, because you definitely feel like you're kind of inside, you're in behind the scenes, right? You get to see the guys come out, you get to see all the stuff they do. From a football perspective, like I guess if you went there every day, you could pick up on some stuff, but it's very hard to go there one day and like make a judgment about who's doing what.
There's no like 7-on-7 during the thing.
Yeah,
or like...
Well, I mean, the day I was there was 11-on-11, with pads, and like tackling to the ground, but just not like crazy.
Who stood out to you?
Honestly, dude, the guy, and I'm
Vic
gonna
Fangio.
I did see Kellen Moore walk out. I was like, Kellen, how you doing? Who stood out to me, and not necessarily because of the way they played, and I might butcher his name. Is it Mekhi Becton? Do you guys know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mekhi Pfeiffer.
Mekhi Becton. I believe that's how you say it.
Is he the linebacker?
No, he is a lineman.
6'8".
He is. It looks like a lot of people thought Steen was going to be the starting guard, but it looks like this guy's going to be the starting guard. He's massive. I mean, he is bigger than Jordan Mailata. It's unbelievable. You guys may have seen, I think last week or earlier this week, Saquon made a comment about how, like he can't believe how good the line is, and running behind this line, he expects to, have an amazing year. So looking at a guy like that, you're just like, holy shit, this guy's huge.
They're saying that a 6th-round receiver, Johnny Wilson, is that who it is?
There's always one guy like
this
that.
This was going to be my question for you.
Okay.
Did you like Lehigh better than the NovaCare practice?
So I actually.
Or have you gone to the link for the open practice they had?
So I've actually done all three. One time I went with Fick, actually, our buddy, out to Lehigh and checked that out. And that was cool because it felt like a destination.
I loved Lehigh. I went out.
Did you go?
I think I go out once every year.
Yeah. I mean, it was a cool thing.
I've never been to it.
Meech doesn't like training camp, right, Meech?
It's not my thing. I mean,
it's not your thing?
I don't want to see them. You know what? I went to an open practice with Chip Kelly that they had at Penn at the, what was that?
Franklin Field?
Franklin Field. It was pretty cool. But
so why would you not want to go to other training camp practices?
Because that was in Center City. I didn't have to go too far. No, it wasn't bad. All right. I forgot. I actually forgot I went to it.
The funniest thing is,
he's like, I hate
training camp.
I did
go that time. It was pretty good.
Cool. I had
I
a
just
great time.
remembered.
I enjoyed myself.
I just remembered that I went to
So
when
did
they
you
had it at Franklin Field. It was Chip Kelly's first practice with the.
I got to tell you,
and it was so fast moving. I was like, "Yo, dude, Chip Kelly's a goddamn genius. We're gonna win 7 Super Bowls."
Oh, I hate that guy.
before I get into any further analysis, I got to say the coolest thing about training camp is you see like so many people that you know down there, right? Like saw Pat Gallen, I saw Malik Joe, Howard Eskin, Michael Barkin. Today Kelsey's out there, Jaws is out there. A lot of people related to the foundation.
Ricky Rackman.
No. Anyway, point is,
when I was at Lehigh, I ran in. I got to see Don Tolson.
Good guy in the
we got a
community.
selfie with him, and it was all before
Nice.
we found out everything. But we were in the parking lot. With
he
Don
sold you
Tolson.
something,
Yeah.
didn't he?
It was
He got
great.
opening day tickets.
Keith is saying he got Reggie White's autograph at Westchester. Well,
Is that
this
what-
episode is
was it an
dedicated.
Was it an Eagles Packers like joint practice?
See, Fink will not let this go.
When I was a little kid,
I got Reggie White's autograph one time when I was a kid. I forgot where I got it, but he wrote on the card John 3:16.
I was going to say it had to be something religious.
And I didn't go to Catholic school. I had no idea what the fuck it meant. Like I had no fucking idea.
Amazing.
It's
Beautiful.
pretty fun. I was like, why is he signing somebody John? Who's John?
Yeah.
His
Well,
name's Reggie.
Today
This
was
idiot signing John on here.
today was super cool getting to go hang out with Chris and Bo and some of the Green Light guys, watching them kind of do their thing. Everybody down there is, the vibes are high. I didn't even realize they have a game on Friday. Today was the last practice. They got a game against the Ravens. Do you guys know they have a chance to make history on Friday? Does anyone know how they could do that?
lose a game,
No.
win a game.
Correct. Baltimore, I believe,
Oh,
has
yeah.
won 23 straight preseason games.
Right.
That's kind of
That's what I heard today. I don't know if that's exactly
I'm pretty
correct.
sure I remember a preseason game where they played Baltimore and the field was so bad that they couldn't even play the game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Didn't come out the second half or something
It's a
like
nice
that.
My
anecdote.
stupid brain just recalled that.
Was that at the vet?
It was
Okay.
Andy Reid. I remember he was walking up and down.
How-
So here's some notes. Okay, I made
Think
some
we'll
notes.
talk about it
Oh,
after
cool.
this
All right.
show.
All right, cool.
I did
I'm looking
see
forward to it.
a decent amount of some of the things that we were concerned about. Keith says they canceled the game. Keith knows everything tonight. He's on fire. Thank you, Keith.
Keith.
So I did
it's
see
like
a lot
2:00
of
where he's
in
at.
the 11-on-11 sessions, Jalen dropping back, then leaving the pocket, scrambling, looking for a receiver, and then running as much as he could,
No.
which was very reminiscent last year. I also saw
no.
a handful of batted passes. Now, full disclosure, I saw someone else reporting that they thought that he was holding the ball less and doing a great job. So, maybe those were just a couple plays that I was paying attention. I'm not sure. Saw a lot of James Bradbury at safety, right? Which is a new thing. I will say Jalen does definitely look more spry, like he's running, no fear in terms of that. And you got to hope that maybe last year he wasn't able to move the way that he can. And now
Bone bruise on the
capable.
knee, man. That
Yeah.
probably hurt.
Jordan Davis looks good. Now, I don't know if it's because he cut his hair. I don't know if you guys saw this. He's got shorter hair. He doesn't have the kind of mop top, but he looks fit. He does not look, overweight or anything. He looks really good. He could have a massive year. No Cooper. A lot of Cooper DeJean hanging around. We're not going to get to see him, I don't think, in camp at all. So the
Is he
question
hurt?
is, yeah, he's got a hamstring thing.
Oh,
He's out.
wow.
So, those are just some of my general impressions.
So the first thing you said was you saw Jalen drop back, can't find someone, take off. That's fine. Did you see a lot of called runs for Jalen Hurts?
So I did see some, but the problem is you can't really base anything off that because
Yeah.
they could be practicing that.
Got
you know
it,
what I mean?
got it.
So if he does a couple quarterback draws,
So that's my biggest fear this year, right? So last year, it seemed like Jalen Hurts just fell off the face of the earth. It's and it had to be something with his injuries, right? This year we have a new offensive coordinator coming in. We have what I think is one of the most talented running backs in the league. This should take a lot of pressure off of Jalen Hurts. I don't want to see any more of these tush pushes, any more of these called runs. I think they need to turn around, hand the ball off, and keep that guy healthy. Part of the allure of Jalen Hurts and what makes him dangerous is that he has the ability to run, but he doesn't need to be called a run play. Like when he drops back, he doesn't say anything, he takes off. That's what makes him dangerous. I think if he can stay healthy, have the coaching staff not call all these stupid tush pushes and called runs, I think that the Eagles are going to be very, very good.
Yeah, here's something I seen the other day, and I made note of it. I wanted to mention it today. I looked at some NFL futures that came out on FanDuel because I'm a degenerate, and that's how I spend half of my day.
we know
But
this.
Saquon Barkley's yards and touchdowns this year are way low.
Yeah, I saw that.
I guess they're banking on him getting injured because it's over under 6.5 touchdowns, and it's minus 140 for 1,000 yards rushing. When every DeAndre Swift got 1,200.
Yeah.
I mean, every quarterback, every running back behind this offensive line gets 1,200 plus yards rushing.
And
I
you
mean,
have an extra game.
That 6.5 touchdowns tells me that Vegas thinks that the Eagles are going to continue to give the ball to Jalen Hurts at the goal line, have him smash his head in there, which is what we don't need. You know what I mean?
But then again, you gotta take into account Kelsey's not manning that tush push
Exactly.
anymore. So they might start handing it off to the
Related
guy
note-
with the thick thighs more often.
Related note, I did ask around while I was there about Juergens. People love Juergens. They're not expecting, they're not looking at that as yeah, sure, Kelsey is on a different level, but no one is man, that's going to be a problem.
Lane Johnson was on
Listen,
WIP
nobody
morning
else-
show, and he was talking about highly praising Cam Jurgens today.
Nice.
And he also said he can squat 550 pounds.
Can't Jalen squat 600 though?
Yeah,
but still.
I'm just saying.
Yo,
he
yo,
brought the number 550. I was just
It's awesome, but you saw the stats of every other team in the league who you think everybody could do it, but no one else could do it. I think a lot of it had to do with the initial push of Jason Kelsey.
Well, our buddy Trevor is asking, he's saying the tush push won him the fantasy chip. What Eagle is a fantasy lock on there? I assume he means on the team.
Saquon Barkley.
Well, I think Meach just said But
Yeah.
for fantasy,
My
yeah.
my son was.
He doesn't care about fantasy. He
No, I
cares about
kind of do
making.
because you know why my kids are into it.
Ah,
So now
Which is
I got
my
to
league.
answer to them. Yeah, I'm in Fink's league. I got the 8th pick.
thought
but
it was beneath
And
you.
I have 7th. Ooh.
But my son was asking me yesterday. He's like, I got the 10th pick. He's in a 12-man league. He's like, you think I should take Saquon? I was like, he's not even in the top 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then I checked the mock drafts, and he's like going 15 or 16. He's right up
Dude,
top.
he's gonna be good, man. I mean, listen, maybe we should have a little session coming up in the fall, Rocky Roto, because I'm a senior fantasy specialist.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Rocky
Roto world.
Rocky
Love it.
Roto world. Because I know a lot about
we could
fantasy.
definitely use a nice
Yeah, we need a
fantasy weekly segment.
Yeah, we do need that.
Starts.
I've won many fantasy championships, won a lot of money.
All right, wait. I have a question.
Go ahead.
When the waivers you pick up on Wednesday morning, right? Yeah. So we couldn't do like waiver pickups. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause we're Wednesday night.
Yeah,
But we could
figure
do
it out.
We
like,
could
you
put them
know,
on our
we could do something.
We'll figure
on
it
our
out.
Twitter account.
If anyone wants to recommend
We'll clean it up.
a Rocky Roto segment, in terms of what we can do for fantasy football, let's do
Rocky,
it. By the way, if you want to have your fantasy draft at the Coop, come on down because this place is perfect for
this
a
is
fantasy
perfect.
draft.
This really
We
is.
will charge you a modest rental fee, and it'll be fantastic. Please do reach out.
And we'll have Fink drive a hoagie tray down to you
Yeah.
Finks can cater it, right?
Let's
for
do it.
an
Why
even
not?
more modest hoagie fee.
Okay. Listen, real quick, guys, because I feel like this happens where I come up with this idea for what we're going to talk about, and then we never really get to it. So I want to spend the last 10, 15 minutes here talking about something that relates a little bit more to the psyche of the fan, because as I'm going down to the Eagles training camp and I'm just thinking about the Eagles season, I feel like the truth is across the board that nobody is willing to fully buy in on this team. Despite the fact that the roster on paper looks as good as any we've had in a long time. And I know there's some question marks on the defense. It feels like everybody is hesitant to really buy into the fact that Eagles are a true contender. And what I want to ask you guys is, as we look at that situation, and needless to say, the scars of last year are still here, right? That is affecting, no question, how we're viewing what's going to happen with the Eagles, right? But then we got the Phillies in remarkable tailspin, a historic season up until the All-Star break. Now they've lost, I think, 6 straight series. Tonight, they got a chance to change that against the Dodgers, which I will not be able to stay up for. Last night actually was great. I left the game on while I was sleeping, and I woke up, kind of in between, just woke up and it said, Phillies win 6-2. And I did the little like half sleep, like then I went right back to sleep. I cannot stay up for these
I
games.
did the same exact thing. Fell asleep on the sofa.
That's what you got to do. So we'll find out tonight if they're able to at least stop the bleeding on that. But I think a lot of people are looking at the Phillies the same way, where it's like, oh my gosh, we had are we going to see this again? This collapse that we had. And if you think about it, despite the fact that the Eagles made the Super Bowl a couple years ago, despite the fact that the Phillies have made the World Series in the NLCS, the way this is all transpired feels like it's robbing us of the joy of actually believing or letting ourselves believe that either of these teams can win a championship. Do you guys agree that generally that's the sentiment? And do you agree with that? Or do you feel like we shouldn't be thinking like that and that we should really be behind, I don't want to say behind these teams, we're behind them, but we should let ourselves believe that this is going to happen? Fink, let's go to you.
Me? You want me to start off first?
It's good. Or not. I mean,
think
if
it's
you're not
good.
ready.
No, like
Fink's like, what'd you just say?
so we want to do the Eagles first or the Phillies
Yeah,
first?
I want you to do the Eagles first, and real quick, I know you had some feelings about the Jalen Nick thing, which I
Nah,
think
the
is also
Jalen and-
something that people are saying.
I think that is the most overblown thing. I feel like it's just a dead time in Philly sports, and that's the only reason we're talking about it. Like, it happened last year. We watched this team, even though they did collapse. Do you think that the Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni relationship is a reason why that team collapsed?
the funny thing is, I don't know. I mean,
If
my
you
listen,
watch
wait,
that
my
defense,
belief, my
that
There
whole
was
belief.
something.
It was
I think it was
I think it was the
coaching related.
coordinators.
Mm.
I think it was the coordinators, and then Nick's inability
Hoping
to like manage that situation that made everybody get pissed off. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, I just think we're harping on this
I think-
Jalen Hurts and Sirianni thing way too much. Like, do you?
Go
I
ahead,
don't want.
Rocky.
I don't want to point
I
to no
don't-
one personally. Like, does everyone get along with their boss all the time?
No, I think
No, I hate mine.
I agree with Jess a little bit. I think it was the coordinators not coordinating. They did not. Jalen Hurts was clearly injured last year, right? So if you're a good offensive coordinator and your quarterback is good enough to healthy enough to play, but like not healthy enough to be jamming it up the line 12 times a game. You gotta audible out of that. You gotta come up with a new game plan. You gotta go with your quarterback strengths, maybe drop him back a little bit more, have him toss the ball. You can't have him cramming the ball. And Brian Johnson just did not seem to go away from the plan. It was like
but I don't
every
honestly,
game,
dude. Like, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Sorry.
I don't.
You don't want to
wanna-
hear about last year.
I don't. I want to understand like the way what happened last year is impacting how we are viewing what's going on.
But I
with the Phillies
think
and
it's
what's going with the
it's
Eagles.
souring all of us
Right.
on this season. Like me personally, I'm like, you know what? Every year the Eagles are great on paper. Every year they let us down, except for 2018, right? So it's like,
It's true.
it's like the same thing this year. Like they look great on paper. You know what I mean? They're going to be in the playoffs, obviously. I mean, there's no wood to knock on, but pretty sure the Eagles are going to make
too
it to the
soon.
playoffs. They're going to maybe make some sort of run, but like we need a championship, and I can't buy into it right now. I really can't, because like we see the same thing every year. And the team, they have this great squad, and something always happens at the end.
They're
You know
2
what I mean?
years off removed from being in the Super Bowl. Like it's not.
And
And
I
even though
w-
they lost, something happened.
Listen,
but,
I was saying to Jesse earlier, I think Philadelphia teams perform better when they enter the
Mhm.
playoffs as the underdog or the team that's not meant to win it all. When we enter as a favorite, we do nothing. We underperform. In 2008 with the Phillies, they weren't the favorite going in there. They were the underdog in pretty much every series, I believe, and they won it. The Eagles in 2017, after Wentz went down, they were underdogs at home in the 2 games. It's more of like that's when we perform better, when everyone counts us out and we can, like, even the past couple years with the Phillies, we made it to the World Series 2 times, or 1 time, and almost made it another time against the Diamondbacks, but as the wild card team.
It almost didn't make the playoffs the one year because we played so crappy in August and September.
Right.
I think it's kind of funny because, to your point, at least from a fan's perspective, when any of our teams are like that good, far and away the best team, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop,
Mhm.
because you've seen that happen so many times.
every
And this
time.
year, I really thought the Phillies were different. It just seemed like nothing could go wrong.
we still got 2 months of baseball. to
Well, we
play.
do.
Yeah, but they've already proven they're vulnerable, and we've seen it already. So when it happens, if it happens in the playoffs, we said, well, we saw that back in August and
But
the end of July.
No team does that for 162 games. Like
some
they're
do.
Who?
So-
The most wins ever is 113 or something like that with the
Mariners,
Mariners,
and they lost.
and didn't
but,
even win the World Series that year.
I mean, I'm just saying, some teams can go wire to wire.
Well, what scares me a little bit about it is that we assumed we had such a good cushion built up with the Phillies that it was almost like there's no way this can go sideways. But what they're doing right now gives you legitimate reason to think about what happened with the Eagles, right?
What I'm saying, I don't mean that I wish the Braves would overtake us and we'd enter the playoffs as the wild card team. That's not what I mean. But it's just, for some reason, when we go into a season and we become I remember when we became the favorites in Vegas over the Dodgers, late July. We surpassed the Dodgers finally to World Series odds. As soon as that happened, we just went on we haven't won a series since. It's almost like once we get that mentality, they just fall apart. And I hate when guys complain about the Garrett Stubbs and the Johan Rojas. It's the big guys.
Mhm.
It's when we get let down, it's by Schwarber, it's by Turner, it's by Harper, it's by Castellanos, it's by Bohm. Like, we can't be blaming the guys who, like, Garrett Stubbs won't start a game in the playoffs, so who cares about him? But we need real Muto to step up now. I mean, these guys all can't go into a slump at once, and it's tough to watch when they do, as they are now.
Well, what they're able to do in the playoffs remains to be seen. But my biggest fear is, like, looking at what happened with the Eagles last year. They ultimately ended up starting so strong that no matter what, they still made the playoffs. But by the time they got there, they were a shell of themselves.
Are you worried going to the
And
season?
they even went into the playoffs and played the Buccaneers, who weren't that good, and they could have turned it around right there.
Right.
They could have used that game in the playoffs to turn it around.
But I'm making an analogy with the Phillies season, to be clear, right? Like, my concern with the Phillies is what we're seeing right now is so bad that,
Oh, I agree.
will they rediscover the form they had in the beginning of the year? Maybe. But I'm just worried that this whatever happens right now sucks the life out of them, and they enter into the playoffs with no momentum. Now, again,
We still got
a
two
couple years
months.
ago, they almost lost. They almost blew it and didn't make the playoffs. And I did check today, and they're still tied with the Yankees for the best record in baseball. So I mean, look,
And they have the biggest lead in any
Right.
division. In
but
Major
at the same
League.
time, like we talked about earlier, they've lost 6 series in a row after not losing one since April. So they've played so badly that you're justified in thinking about the worst case scenario.
Absolutely.
You just are. And with the Eagles, no, I'm not worried about them necessarily missing the playoffs, but I feel like we are not collectively as a fan base in on them the way we normally would be because of what happened last year. And I wonder, that's the next question I have for you guys is what's it going to take? If the Eagles come out and destroy the Packers
I'm
in
back
Brazil,
in already.
you're back in already.
I mean, how can you not be?
I feel like you're always in though.
I'm
you're
not.
always in on the Phillies. I mean, I love it about
because
you.
it's a good time to be a Philly sports fan. Like we just added Barkley to this offense. You have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard. You have Jalen Hurts.
Truth.
All you do is lose Kelsey, which is a big piece, but he handpicked his replacement. They've been working. You have Stoutland University still. This offense is not going to take that much off. The defense is a little bit wary, but
Who cares?
I mean, hey, score 35 points a game. Defense only has to stop the team at what?
Yeah.
4 touchdowns a game? You can still win that.
I just think, generally speaking, the feeling I get from people is they're very cautiously optimistic.
I think that we just gotten so used to excellence around here. And by excellence, I mean going to the playoffs, making it far in the playoffs, that the fan base wants to see a Super Bowl or nothing else. Right. So
Yeah.
it's like,
they're in a
You know,
tough
it's like-
position.
yeah.
So
So
should
it's
be
like,
the goal every year, though.
yeah, no,
It
that is the
should
goal
be,
every
but-
year. But it's like, you
But
go
some fan bases are content with just being good enough and,
Right. Well,
and
that's
putting
not
the
us.
effort. It's not us.
Right.
No,
So
we're better
when
than
you say
that.
you're not bought in, it's like, okay, I'm semi bought in. Like, I know the Eagles I feel like they're going to be good. I'm going to be excited to watch them play, go deep in the playoffs, make a nice run. I'm not fully bought in on them winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And it's because of what happened in the past. You know what I mean?
And
It's where, what would you call it when we first started this podcast?
what did I call it?
Learn pessimist.
Yes. Well, I'm the learned pessimist for sure. I
Right.
think I'm even worse than
So
that.
I
I had
think
another.
the city,
yeah.
the fan base as a whole have learned pessimism
Yes.
against the Eagles because we're going to be good.
Right.
The only thing we want is a championship. It's hard to buy into them winning a championship.
It's funny though. I think about it. I'm like, all right, well, what if they go 10-1? Now we agree their 10-1 last year was a little bit smoke and mirrors
Mhm.
with the way that all played out.
Mhm.
But let's say they look great and they're 10-1. I don't think we'll be sitting there going, well, we were 10-1 last year. I think we'll be like, this is different. It's obviously going to depend how it plays
Yeah,
out.
it depends how
But
they
I think
look.
for everybody, it's a little different. Like at what point you're like, all right, last year was an anomaly. Nick's the guy.
Yeah.
These are good coordinators. Defense solid enough.
Yeah, I mean, if they're coming out 10-1 and they're smoking teams, you know what I mean, by 15, 25 point, whatever game, then yeah, you're going to be real hype. But if they're coming out and barely winning against teams like, whatever the shit teams
You
are,
brought in a
Raiders and whatever
proven
else they're playing.
OC. You brought in the
Yeah.
DC, who everyone makes their defense. He's a godfather of the
Yeah, yeah.
architect of it. Like, I don't know why we're not getting more excited. I just don't understand there being reserved. Like, I understand the 10-1 collapse, but
Yeah,
let's get excited again, man. Like, we're going.
Get excited.
This is a good team. Like,
it is a good team.
Listen, I feel bad. I do live in constant fear of the worst case scenario, which is no way to live as a sports fan, but it's developed over time. And it's very hard for me to change because, we win the World Series with the Phillies in 2008 and then slowly, recede from there. Don't make the playoffs for 10 years. We win the Super Bowl with the Eagles.
I would argue that 2011 was more fun than 2008.
Fine.
Even though it
Didn't win.
culminate in a-
I'm just saying, when you see the Bostons and the New Englands, whatever other cities winning multiple championships, like it always seems like we capture it for a minute and then everything else is torture, So, but hey, I guess that's the fun of it. I don't really know. But
Here's how lame I've become. All I want is to see one championship in each team in my lifetime. I've seen the Sixers. I mean, I haven't seen the Sixers. I was 4 years old. So I need them. And if the Flyers do it, that would be cool. Like I think
Mitch Kaufmania, baby.
when NHL playoffs are fucking awesome. And if the Flyers go on a run, there's nothing I love better than those Legion of Doom teams.
I agree, and I have been paying no attention to that because
No.
the Flyers have been bad, and that's a
Right.
shame because it is amazing.
But I did
And the
see
playoffs
I
this year
did see an
were
Eagles
so
one,
cool.
and I did see a Phillies one. So if they never make
I
it
want
again,
more.
I'm content. I want more too, but it might
Being
not
on
happen.
Broad Street, for those, I want that again, man. I want it bad. So hey,
That's-
hopefully we get it this year, one way or the other.
You know what I love about I know it's an hour and 4 minutes into the show,
That's
but
okay.
when everybody talks about a championship, they're like, I want a parade. Like, are you that into like our parade? Like,
I actually had more fun the
who's
night
into
we won.
parades?
I want the
Yeah,
night
the
that
night
we
won
win.
was-
But it's like I want a parade, and it's like
Yeah,
bunch
you
And
of-
by the way, I don't care that it's 1:05 because apparently for the first 5 minutes the audio wasn't working.
couldn't hear
So
it.
we have an
Single
extra 5 minutes to deal
It
with.
sounded like you were in like a box talking. I was like,
Oh my
oh god.
God, I don't know what
Don't
happened
worry,
there.
I saved everything.
Fink
Ralph. You
saved
missed
it.
Good work,
I just want to
good
say
work.
shout out to Keith,
Fink
who
sabotaged us just to save us.
real quick. I know Fink, you pointed this out on social media. Keith is posting with his City Pigeons shirt on from his backyard in Paris from the Olympic Games.
Shout out Keith.
City Pigeons are well represented. We thank you. And thank you to everybody that checked in with us this week. We will be back next week. We're going to cook up
Shout
some
out
special
to Diz.
things.
Shout out
Well,
Goodhart.
you were
Shout out
away next
Henneman.
I'll
Shout
come
out
up.
Trevor.
Listen, I'm going to come up with an
Shout
idea
out
for what we're going to
pizza.
talk about, and then we'll talk about
Shout out
something
Matt Market.
completely
My boy.
different. Okay, that's what we're going to do. All right, ladies and
Shout out
gentlemen, any
Buffalo
closing
Wings.
remarks for anyone before we shut this thing down?
Yeah, we should have parting shots like the old sports reporters.
R.I.P. to Rocky's basketball team.
Oh, who do you want to take a shot at?
Here's a parting shot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
It's not a shot at anybody.
No.
Do it.
It's that motherfucker Taven Sullivan on the Union.
Yeah.
The
Yo,
little
he's
kid?
like 14. Why are you coming
Yeah,
at him
what's-
so
No,
hard?
it's not. This is nothing negative. He is the most articulate, mature interview I've seen out of any sports. And listen, I don't like the Union. I don't give a shit. But did you see him being interviewed?
Did not.
Man, and then he went to he threw out the first pitch at a Phillies game about a week
Not
and a half
great.
ago,
I think I saw that.
and
Did
they
he throw it over?
We play soccer.
I didn't see the actual pitch, but I saw beforehand he met with Bryce Harper and a couple of the guys before the game. And this dude, for being 14 years old, he carries himself more mature than I do. Like I'm way more immature than this kid.
There's a lot of people that are way more mature than you.
So your
I
parting
understand that.
your
but
parting shot
I'm
is
so impressed with this dude, Taven Sullivan, and
Huh?
just the way he
maybe
carries
he can
himself.
make you
I don't know
love
who's-
soccer.
Whoever his parents are, take a bow because you raised a really awesome kid. And listen, I don't care about soccer or the Union.
I
or,
think he's related to Albright,
Yeah,
the
you
guy
were
we
saying
went
that.
to
He's
to
pretty.
school
He's
with.
probably had some media
Anyway,
training since he was about 6 years old. or
I
something like
noticed that. I just wanted. There's no need for me to mention it, but
That's a nice
shout
thing.
Shout out Caven Sullivan. I love the way you carry yourself, kid, man.
Maybe
I wish my
Meech.
kids carried themselves.
Can you get him on the pod? Caven's peeps, you listening? Meech wants to
listen,
talk to you. He'd probably be well spoken.
I don't
on the
want to really
podcast.
talk to him. I'm just impressed by. I wouldn't know what to ask him. He's 14 years old.
Yeah.
What nudie mags you please? I don't know.
Well,
shout
don't
out
look at
Caven
mags,
Sullivan.
dude. They got the
that.
internet.
Parting shot.
On that note, we're gonna shut it down. We'll see you next
Johnny
week for
Clark,
episode
Johnny
93.
Airport, you stink.
Uh-oh.
Man, that's how you do it, Meech. You gotta
Yeah, there you go.
take a shot.
There
Rob
you go.
Thompson.
Bye.